What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more of the creatures, which is to say the larger deep dive related to Siouxsie Sioux and Siouxsie and the Banshees is now switching back to the creatures, in this case for their 1983 proper album Feast, or is it The Feast? In the moment, no, it's just Feast. So, yes, ultimately shout out to Nikola, who has also provided the glove material. I'm going to do the first reaction to that in this same batch. And yes, the first track on Feast is Morning Dawning, which both words give you the same sense. The idea of the dawn is daybreak, the idea of the sun coming up over the horizon as the earth turns and thus casting light across the land and thus representing morning in a very physical or visual way. And of course, both of these terms can relate to metaphors or figurative meaning, the idea of morning after night, thus when light returns, and that can be emotional, that can be conceptual, and the dawn can be a new beginning, the start of a new day, which if you're talking about a life trajectory or even a larger society, any idea of a previous phase in which things were heavy or dark then being renewed with light. So I feel like any of those ideas could be relevant, and of course none of them could. It could just literally be a backdrop for a tale that is about individual people or interactions that are not necessarily about the morning in a more figurative or metaphorical sense. But let's see what it actually is, or what I can catch when I first listen. This is Morning Dawning by the Creatures, the first track on their 1983 album Feast. So, a very atmospheric opening tune, which feels less like a proper song and more like, score music or an ambient sonic sphere. And it feels, in a way, like maybe not ancient, but like a throwback to a bygone era, like some druid ritual on the coast where we get Siouxsie's vocals, a lot of which seem to have like reverb or resonance or echo, and then there's these chanting vocals in the back. I don't know if that was Siouxsie and Budgie both, or if there were actually other people that were brought in, but it did sound like I was maybe hearing both a male and a female vocal in those backing chant incantation style vocals. Obviously, we have what at first I heard is like wind, and then it sounds like waves lapping on a coast or maybe against a cliffside, but also I think wind because we hear some chimes that sound like they are softly breezing in the wind. And then what I got from the little bit of the lyrics that I was able to catch, it was more like an immersive experience, more again like a piece of scene music than a proper song per se. But it sounds like, she talked about looking in someone's eyes and like not seeing the same energy there, and tears were falling from her eyes, or like maybe not being able to look in their eyes because of this loss of energy or fire, and that was apparently making her tear up. But then it sounded like the coming of the morning dawning, was what led to the extinguishing of the fire, which, there was like a line about kindling, which can be like a noun but also a verb. And I wondered whether like the fire that was burning in the night was then extinguished because of the morning coming and, wiping away that energy and that fire. So I don't know if like the morning dawning was seen as a negative or something that led to the end of whatever dynamic they had together, or whether I'm hearing that wrong and it was like, the other way around, that they were waiting for the morning, but then maybe there was some like disconnect between what had happened before. But yeah, it sounds like a personal story set within atmospheric natural forces, maybe cosmic or mystical forces, and then maybe even those are personifications. Maybe they're, a metaphorical way to talk about something that's happening emotionally or indeed interpersonally. So a really crazy scene setting track, even though I'm not quite sure what's happening. I did notice on the cover, because I usually go to the master release on Discogs anytime I start going through a new release, EP or album, and I noticed the artwork, and it did remind me, I did check the original, like the EP that I went through from the Creatures, and that, as people pointed out, it has Budgie and Siouxsie in a shower looking very intimate and, sensual, if not overtly sexual. And then this cover, they both seem to be like, he has his shirt off and she's in what I think is like a transparent or at least translucent outfit, but they look very tribal. They look like they would be part of some ritual to either appease or propitiate some natural forces or gods as personified natural forces. So I wonder if there is some sort of concept album beginning here. So I'll obviously look forward to hearing what people have to say, as well as, hearing successive tracks and maybe getting like different facets of a larger story. But definitely a really crazy opener, and one that I, again, would not necessarily categorize as a song per se, but more of like a mood or a cinematic piece of music. So yes, definitely looking forward to this. Once again, shout out to Nikola and all the folks who've been following the Siouxsie journey. As I said, I will also start going through the gloves, so thank you again to Nikola for that. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.